Jill, you're Toastmaster for the open house. Now, next week, Tuesday, okay, Phil won't be here, but I think I will. It's a good project to think of. Okay. Looks like Gerald is evaluating Sylvia.
Found the gavel in the. No, Sylvia.
Gavel's in the drawer. I'm in three.
Sylvia has to be continued. Wait,
Oh, okay. So I should cross off Sylvia?
Why are you even speaker? You just don't.
Well,
So,
I'm taking over for Eric, so,
Sylvia was a speaker and now it's David Jones.
okay. Okay. All right. I have to use the gavel?
Call meeting to order.
it's in the drawer.
Ah, that's right. I forget about the drawer all the time. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am Beth Banks. I am your club treasurer, so I am opening the meeting today. Here, or something like that. And if we could all stand for the pledge? Inspiration first?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
We got them standing now.
And then I'll do this.
Inspire 'em.
Then I'll do the pledge.
Okay.
If you wanna.
Okay.
Okay. As we begin our day this snowy morning, which it wasn't snowy in Wilson, everybody. What a shock as we went up Baby Road. Let us remember that none is more impoverished than the one who has no gratitude. Gratitude is a currency that we can mint for ourselves and spend without fear of bankruptcy. But we can try for that bankruptcy on a daily basis. Thank you. Now let's do the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You got anything else to say? All right, our Toastmaster of the day is Nancy Ferry.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I chose gratitude because it's cold and snowy and it's still February. Sometimes we can get in a little bit of in some of the doldrums, I guess you call it. Well, I can anyway. There was a study by Robert Edmonds and Michael McCullough that said people who write gratitudes before going to bed have increased optimism, are significantly more satisfied with their lives, and feel more connected to others. So it's a good practice to write our gratitudes. I want to thank Len for getting up early, setting us all up. And not only did he set up the computer things, the audio visual, he also set up the chairs and took out the things for us to start our morning with. And I don't think we have a Zoom master today. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for double roll. And thank you for always doing this. Our WAG master this morning, Kate, will you come up and explain to us, first of all, what that job is? And second of all, tell us what you're grateful for this morning.
Oh, I am grateful for many things. That does keep us thinking positive. Yesterday, my dog had tooth surgery and he's doing okay. I am grateful that at age 12, the anesthesia isn't still a risk today. Everything seems to be in order. And I gave him his medicine this morning and he fell right back to sleep. So I'm grateful that my little dog is still with me because I was a nervous mama bear yesterday after signing 100 pages saying how risky the procedure would be. In any case, the WAG Master is a combination for our guest and our newest members, the WAG. So I'm the Word Master. I'll tell you 2 words of the day. And the Master, I'll keep track of our ahs and ums and the grammar. That's a lot all in one, but it is an excellent listening role. So I will do my best to listen and report back at the end. Now, 2 somewhat challenging words for this day of gratitude. A couple months ago, I was listening to an audiobook about humanism, and a word came on that I knew I had heard of, and I didn't know if I ever knew the definition and had forgotten because I'd been so sick. And this word is meliorism. Meliorism, I should have printed it, I suppose, since it's challenging, but I'll spell it MELIOR ism. So meliorism, meliorism, is the belief that the world can be made better by human effort. I think that we're all here today because we believe in meliorism, that with some of our effort, our own world can be better and the world for others around us. So meliorism, if you could try to use that. And the other is more familiar, galvanized. I love that word, galvanize, or galvanized, to excite someone into taking action. So Nancy, with this topic of gratitude, is galvanizing us together. I'll report back at the end. Please try to use the words of the day, galvanize or meliorism, and avoid filler words because it detracts from our credibility. We want to stay as strong speakers. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day, Nancy.
Can I say galvanizer? I don't know if that's a word, but perhaps we will all be galvanizers today. Our quote master, Mary. Where are you? There you are, front and center. I didn't even see. Looking to the left and looking to the right. Please tell us your quote for the day and tell us one thing that you're grateful for, if you wish.
Actually, I think that's the word.
There we
Gratitude.
go.
Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Melody Beatty. I'm grateful for my family.
We're grateful for you, Mary.
I'm not grateful to be back in the cold weather.
That's right. You're just coming back from Florida, aren't you? Steve Smith, our jester. You know, you're just a jester with your whole personality. So you just have it. You don't even have to write anything down, but I'm sure you have something for us. We're grateful for you. And what are you grateful for today after your jest?
I don't know. I think I've just been insulted. But yeah. I want to say thank you to all the people who walked into my life and made it outstanding, and all the people who walked out of my life and made it fantastic. Now, I have a number of jokes here, and I knew I was on the right trail because I got through a couple of them, and Jill said, that's enough. You don't want to hear it anymore. Why was the computer cold at the office? Oh, that's good. I didn't. No, it left its windows open, but it was thankful for the cool breeze. Why was the coffee thankful? Because it got mugged every morning, but it still perked up. Why did the flower say thank you? Because it rose to the occasion. One more. Before you get thrown out. Why was the elevator thankful? Close. It kept uplifting people all day. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, and Mike Florio, I see you in the room today. Would you please tell us what the timer does after he trips on his chair? No, not trip. That was showing us how agile you are.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest, Dave. Good morning, right? I am grateful and thankful that we have people like Dave, new people that come into our lives here that teach us things. And he taught me this morning that that is good morning in sign language. He teaches sign language. So thank you very much. That was right over coffee. Thank you. Thank you, right? Thank you. Okay, cool. Look at that. Come to Toastmasters, and that's what we do. We learn, and we're very grateful. So we're also grateful that we're timed because we can't really prattle on forever, but our times, our table topics are 1:30 to 2 minutes with a 15-second buffer. You'll get the green at 1:30. You'll get the yellow at 1:45. You will get the red at 2, and then you're out after 15 seconds. Speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, unless otherwise. They're a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. You get a 30-second buffer with the evaluations. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to introduce our quiz master, and then I'm going to ask for a list of the people that are on Zoom, if somebody could get that for me, so I can read off their names and I can let them know who is in the room. Carol, what are you grateful for? And please tell us what your role as quiz master is.
Good morning. I'm very grateful for the wonderful parents I had, and growing up in the 50s and 60s, I think was much less complicated than it is now. My role as quiz master will be testing your listening skills at the end of the meeting with a few questions. Thank you. Sure.
For gratitude, can we think of things like what can I do instead of what have I lost? What can I learn versus why people don't help me more? What will tomorrow bring versus what I did do today? Or what I did not do today, either one. The gift of now, living in the present. Okay, in the room, myself, Nancy Ferry, Len Thornton, Steve Smith, Jill Roaring, Mike Florio, Jackie Kenny, Mary Kavanaugh. Did I say it right? Cavanero. Thomas Heldwine, Larry McKenzie, Beth Banks, Kate Orr, Phil Russell, and Dave Licata. Did we miss? Oh, you're still on you're at the bottom, David. David, he's still our guest. And on Zoom, we have Margot Bittner, Dave Jones, Marshall Long. Oh, there's an L here. Marshall Long, Song, Gerald Stevens, Tracy Farrell, Eric Schneider, Marty Johnston. Sure. Marshall will turn you into an S instead of an L. Okay, and our impromptu part of our Toastmasters is doing a quiz, doing a table topics, which actually quizzes or helps you practice impromptu speaking. Jackie Kinney.
Adam. Good morning, everyone. I like the topic of the day, so we'll just kind of go along with that and talk some more about gratitude because I got up this morning. Some people didn't. So that's an amazing start to the day. In spite of the view when I looked out the window, it's okay because it's February. We have to expect this. I love the words that we have this morning. Meliorism is a new word to me, very interesting. And I think it's true. The world can be made a better place, especially if each of us do our part along the way by keeping a smile on our face and keeping our attitude positive. Galvanizing is also an excellent word. We have galvanized ourselves with a protective layer so we can get through the tough things that come along. So let's see who can use those words in a little speech this morning. And we'll start with Thomas. We haven't seen much of Thomas these recent months. And I'd like to know, Thomas, if you've had a situation that required you to galvanize yourself and what happened, Thomas?
Madam, oh. Madam Topics Master. Had a situation that galvanized myself. That was actually something I was thinking about when I heard the word this morning of the day. I have been kind of in a low point for the last, I'd say, 3 to 6 months. I distracted myself with a lot of different things. I abused alcohol extremely to numb myself. I did ignore a lot of people who I should have been paying attention to. And I guess my own sense of meliorism was to look at my life and say, I need to do something about this. So I cut out the alcohol. I know that as some of you know that I used to use tobacco quite a bit, smoking or chewing or whatever, cut that out completely. And it takes a galvanized spirit to do that. Now I'm starting on weight loss and giving up the ho-hos. I'm telling you, that has to be the emotional crutch that I missed probably the most. I think that if we all look at ourselves first and then always help others, we will eventually be grateful for the reflection we see. A lot of people at work say, have a good one. That is so vague. A good what? So I usually respond with, may your day be as pleasant as you are. Madam Topics.
Best wishes on your journey, Thomas. And now we're going to hear from David Licata, Old Faithful. We all have a lot of times in our life when we need to galvanize ourselves. And I'm sure David has something to share about that. David.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest, David. When I sailed in, fashionably late once again, Katie filled me in on the word of the day and explained galvanized to me. And the second word I misunderstood was a term that I used in the, when I had a business. But galvanize is quite the word. I know that there was a club, the other club, the Sunrise Optimist Club. We're just sitting there minding our own business. You know, just taking it easy, minding our own business, you know. We got 2 refugees from the Exchange Club, which had folded. So we got 2 new members. And I was quite struck by the fact that they galvanized a Sunrise Optimist Club. Because having been on the deck when their ship went down, these 2 gentlemen seem not to be interested in all in losing another club. So the way they've taken over that club, Sunrise Optimists, and the way they're kicking and changing and forcing us to snap out of it, because I'm 75 years old and at Sunrise Optimist, my nickname is the Kid. So we've been lucky, but I couldn't resist bringing one of the gentlemen into the club, and he's back there in that row. So I want to thank you, David Shannon, and the other gentleman you brought with you, Mr. Lash, because all of a sudden the sleepy little Sunrise Optimist Club is into new things, and we're excited about that. Madam Table Topics Master.
I don't need to adjust it after David. Isn't that interesting? Okay. I think we should probably hear from someone who is zooming in, and that would be Marshall. Marshall, are you available to talk to us about something in your life that has galvanized you? And let us
Yeah.
know about that. Marshall.
Okay, thank you. The most thing I gratitude to is Zoom for this app. I believe media reason. I think human being can use science and technology to change the world. Before I use Zoom, it's very hard to talk with a foreigner, especially the English native speaker. Do you know if I talk with a foreigner in China, how much I will pay? For 2 hours, I need to pay $100. Yeah. So it's very expensive.
Wow.
So through Zoom, through Toastmaster, I can join the meeting of Buffalo, Vancouver, Toronto. It's very convenient. Yeah, you can pay as a member, or you don't need. You just be an audience. If I know in Western country you don't have the super social media, like we have in WeChat, you have different social medias. But Zoom, most of people use that. And for the Christian, in China, we, like me, I am a public school teacher. We are not allowed to go to church. And church, the Bible must read with our communist party books. So I'm afraid to go to church. But I was always wonder what happened in church, why there are 2.4 billion Christians. Is that really cheat us? It's no use, no God. But now I can use Zoom to watch the online worship of Taiwan, American. Yeah, I think it's very useful, and I'm not afraid to be catched by others. So Zoom totally changed my life. Thanks for Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you for giving us a view outside our small community. We appreciate that. And now we need to have a word master report. Kate, can you come up and tell us how everyone did with the word this morning? So we know who qualifies for the vote.
Thank you. I gave you all 2 words. That's already a challenge. And then I gave you 2 challenging words. I applaud everyone's participation. I will say everyone qualifies. Thomas used both words, and David said galvanize the most of anybody. And Marshall, you used the word gratitude, but you used it with the meaning of galvanize. So galvanize is to be excited, but gratitude you can be excited about too. So we're going to count that. And I tricked you by giving you a word that sounds a whole lot like the theme, gratitude and galvanize. Thank you. Everyone qualifies by word of the day.
And of course, we also need a timers report.
Madam Table Topics Master, thank you very much. We had a little technical difficulty, Len, with the timing, but everyone qualified. Thomas at 156, David at 154, and Marshall with the buffer 215. Thank you.
All right, so everyone can now cast their ballot for Marshall, Thomas, or David Licata. And I'll turn the meeting back over to our Toastmaster of the day, who I'm sure has a lot in store for us.
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you everyone for participating in table topics, whether you were listening or speaking or timing or catching the word of the day. There's a couple of things that I've been thinking about with gratitude, and I'm a favorite fan of Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese monk. And he says we need to be, gratitude goes much deeper than just saying, thank you for the day, thank you for the trees, thank you for my shoes, thank you for my home. Those are the things that are easy to remember to be grateful for. And he'll take something like a piece of fruit and say, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did this become? Like, how did I get this apple into my hand? Not just thank you for the apple, but thank you for the grocers. Thank you for the growers. Thank you for the people who drove the truck to the grocery store. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the seed. And then before that, the seed came from where? And it just keeps going. And so if we think of how we're really grateful on a deeper level, I can say I'm grateful for being here today, but also I'm grateful for a friend of mine who told me, we are phone friends, and she told me just before I started here that I said, all the time. And she said, it's really hard listening to you on the phone when every other word is, And I think about it, it's a little bit insecurity and you're not seeing someone. So I want to validate that you're still there. So I would say, and I think it was her suggestion that I go to Toastmasters. I said, what's Toastmasters? So I looked it up and I found that it was at Tom's Diner, which darn it wasn't far from my house. I couldn't give that excuse that I don't want to drive out to Amherst or something. I went to Tom's Diner and I found all these friendly people. Dave kind of greeted me at the door and asked me to sit with him, gave me the packet, give me the membership thing. And I think my money was gone that day. It was just like here. And the next thing I knew, I was a Toastmaster. But before that, the Toastmasters that started this group, the Toastmasters who started any group, Ralph Smedley back in 1932, who had the vision of starting Toastmasters. So, and even before that. So our gratitude, deep gratitude, is something that can challenge us each and every day. We have 3 speakers today. Larry is our first, Phil is our second, and Our third speaker is David Jones, who very kindly stepped up and was ready to go. But first, we are going to hear from Larry McKenzie. Actually, do we hear from his evaluator first? I knew that. Beth is,
I'm not the only one who forgets the order of things.
I have to have gratitude that I can remember a lot of things. Beth, I want you to tell us what you will be evaluating Larry on, maybe what his speech is, and then you can introduce him as well.
Good morning again. I am stepping in for Eric. So if some of you saw it was Eric, it's not. It's going to be me. And I do have the pleasure of evaluating Larry McKenzie. Welcome back. I haven't seen much of you because I haven't been here for a few weeks. I really love his speech title, Smile. I have been accused of smiling too much in my life, which I have always thought, why would someone say that? But maybe Larry will spouse on that. I am very grateful. I hope to use meliorism to make myself better. Thank you.
Part of my speech for today was research. So what do you do in your research? You go to the computer, you go through everything, you go through notes, go through some of your own history. And then you try to figure out what a topic you're going to use. Smile seemed to be a perfect title. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But first of all, I have a quiz for everybody in the room or those of you that are online. I'm going to name a few people. As you can see, I took many notes. I'm going to name a few people. You tell me what they all have in common. And then we'll go from there. Peyton Manning, Tom Brokaw, Leonardo DiCaprio, Joaquin, whatever his name was, Phoenix. Yes, Tom Selleck, Gene Simmons, Kiss, Gene, yes. David Ortiz, Boston player. Andy Garcia, ooh, an actor. Cheech Marin. Well, we won't go there. Jesse Jackson, King Tut, and a little known person that perhaps a lot of us never heard of, Tad Lincoln, which was Abraham Lincoln's son. And there's one more name to add to that list, Larry McKenzie. What do they all have in common? Does anybody know? If you do know, shout it out, and I have a wonderful prize for you. My dad was not president.
They're all men.
We were from Canada. He might have been prime minister. Anybody? Nobody knows? Born on the same day? No. No, if you heard, I had a wonderful prize too. I got this yesterday. I forgot where I was, but I was somewhere and they handed them out and I grabbed a couple. They all have in common this one thing. And I have a picture to show you what that is. Remember, I'm part of the list. Can you see the picture? Each and every one of the persons that I mentioned, including myself, we all have a cleft palate. Cleft palate or a cleft lip. What is a cleft palate? What is a cleft lip? Well, it's a birth defect. And what happens is you're born with either, as you can see here, a normal palate, which is palate inside. Now I have what is called a unilateral cleft palate, which is I had one side that was open and I have no palate that was open also. So what happens is about 3 months after my birth, I had surgery by a plastic surgeon. As I got older, I wondered, well, plastic surgeons, does this mean I've got plastic in my lip? No. Plastic surgeons, the word came from a Greek word. It was called plastikos, which meant to shape or to form, which is what plastic surgeons do. They basically reconstruct and they make you look cute. They don't enlarge anything that I needed at the time. But what they did do is they did fix my lip. One surgery wasn't enough. I needed another, and then I needed another. Sometimes one surgery is plenty. Over the course of my young adult life, I guess you would say before I became a teenager, I had 5 surgeries. And those 5 surgeries were to reconstruct my lip. The doctor at the time told my parents, well, don't worry, when he gets older, he'll be able to grow a mustache, which will cover the scar. I went full blown. So basically what happened was I also had difficulty with speech. And I was the one, Marshall, where are you? Marshall, I apologize. I was the one who put the L on your name because I was thinking of my speech at the time, because my name is Larry. And one of the most difficult letters that I couldn't pronounce was the L word, because you have to use your tongue. And I didn't have anything there to help it. So words like aluminum were aluminum and things. So, you hear people that perhaps speak differently than you do. Well, that was me in my younger kindergarten, first, second, third grade. You got a lot of bullying and things, but you learn to be galvanized because you have to, in some way, put it aside and move forward. Those names of people that I mentioned, like Peyton Manning, Tom Brokaw, you'd never know that they had something from birth that maybe affected them, affected their speech. I went to a speech pathologist, taught me how to use my tongue and how to verbalize and how to say certain things that I wasn't able to do. Well, one of the most important things that I learned from that was communication is not just verbally, as we have a person in the back, Dave, who shows that you can also use gestures, which is sign language, to communicate. Well, as a young person, communicating with your peers is difficult when you look a little different and you can't play some of the sports because you can't get hit in the face, because most of my surgeries were during the summer. And that's when you played ball and everything else. So when I turned 14 and I was able to play football or play baseball, I was excited. And that excitement continued through my life. Now, when we look at different things like a cleft palate or other things that we may have in our life, and you wonder, well, are they different than we are? No, same person. But I have to tell you, there was a gentleman, his name is Dr. Clement A. DeFelice. He was my plastic surgeon. He's now passed. He passed a few years ago. When I saw that he had passed, it brought back the memories of my cleft palate, because I forgot all about it because I've been living my normal life, you would say. Toastmasters has helped me because I went with Dave Licata a few years ago. We went to NCCC and took a course. That course reminded me of when I was a young boy, learning how to pronounce words. And that helped me, and it brought back that memory. And that's why the speech came about today. Now, if you think about the list of people that I mentioned at the beginning, Peyton Manning, Tom Brokaw, Leonardo DiCaprio, I think that they all believe in millionairism because they've tried and they believe that they can make the world better, and they have with what they've done, either through sports or other venues. So remember, smile. I had to shut up because, excuse me, I had to shut up because my speech was over and the red light was on. But I did want to end with one little thing, if I could, please. Smile came about because there's a organization, it's called the Smile Train. I don't know if any of you ever heard of. Smile Train is basically, it's the largest organization for people that have cleft palates. And what they do is there's people in third world countries and even around the United States that can't afford to have the surgery. What they do is they fund it so that the families that have children that have cleft palates or cleft lips don't have to pay for the surgery. So Smile Train. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. You didn't have to worry about that pencil because every time I come up here, I bring another writing implement. I still have two over there that are not working. Our second speaker this morning is Phil Russell, DTM, and he will be evaluated by Tracy Farrell, and I believe she's online, I hope. There you are. Tracy, please tell us about the speech and about the time and what you will be doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I will be evaluating Phil Russell. He's going to be giving us a 5 to 7 minute speech on writing a speech with a purpose. His purpose is to learn how to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and present it in a well-organized manner. He can write a speech in any style, whether it be humorous, informative, but that style has to achieve his purpose. So I will pass it on to you, Madam Toastmaster, and you can introduce his title and Phil Russell.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Tracy. Phil, come on up. Be ready?
Be ready.
Be ready. We're going to be ready. We're ready for Phil's speech.
Oh, Mr. Timer, before I get started, for the timing, I just wanted to start off with a little toast of gratitude for just being here with all these wonderful people and our guests and our returning members. It's a great day. It's a great day. And Toastmaster is one of the best places to galvanize yourself, ready out for the world. And let's do a toast to AM Lockport Toastmasters. Open house. Open house. Are you ready? Are you ready? We are ready because we've been working on it. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, our guest. Now, we've been preparing. We have been preparing. We are going to feed those prospects. We are going to feed them. Now, we are almost ready, but Dave Liccato informed me that in a continental breakfast, you have to have some kind of a drink, like not a soft drink, but maybe a little juice or something. So he's working on that. Marty and Dave are our food masters. They are going to prepare it. Now, Marty has already told me that he can go through Tops. Dave said he knows a place he could get some kind of juice for a reasonable price and bring those in. So we're getting ready. We're going to order that at Tops. We're going to pick it up, bring it here next week. First Thursday of every month. That's on the books, right, Kate? All right. Now, we've done some advertisement. Advertising is key. YMCA, Kate, and Eric, they need to get in touch with Joanna, make sure that it's newsletter, put up posters, not just for this one, but we have to organize and be ready for all of them. Each month, the first Thursday of the month, when we're here, we need to be prepared to have guests. If we don't have any, it doesn't matter, but it helps when they are here. If we don't, it doesn't mean failure. It just means that somebody didn't. We have to work a little harder. That's all. Newspapers. Margot's been on the stick. Margot, right? Margot, I think I saw I didn't see it. I heard about this article in the Lockport paper. Okay. Good job. Good job. I don't know if she got into the Buffalo News or not. The snooze is hard to get into because, you know, they really don't know what they're doing up there in Buffalo. LVL radio. That was my job. I don't know if anybody heard it Tuesday. Okay, somebody did. Tuesday we were on. I was on there with Eric Cook, John Mazer, and Hank Nevins. A lot of us remember Hank Nevins, good friend of mine. I've known him since we were in high school. Great guy. And they even want to do a longer show at some point. Now, when you call the WLVL, the radio station, and you want to talk to them about being on the radio, you must be sincere and go follow through. Don't just call them up and say, I want to be on the radio show, and then drop it. It's not very nice. Not nice at all. But John, I want to invite one of them to come and maybe do a remote from here. How about that? Wouldn't that be cool? They don't have to tape the whole show, but they can jump in at times. I'll talk to them about it. John Mazer, he's a great guy. They've done a great job replacing Paul Oates in the morning show. If you haven't heard it, I tell you, you should listen to it. Yes, it's mostly seniors that listen to WLVL first thing in the morning. I being one of them. And it's okay because it's good. Now, the next thing on it is the meeting setup. Dr. Gerald Stevens, I believe, is on the air. I think he's going to do the opening. That's important. We start on time. This is the best part about AM Lockport. We start on time, we end on time. And most importantly, we meet every Thursday morning. Now, Toastmaster Jill Roaring, be ready. All right. One of the things that John and I and Eric talked about is we have fun here. We have fun. That's one of the reasons I've stayed around since 1982. It's fun. You learn. When I first started in this is how I spoke. I was petrified. I couldn't stand it. Now I feel more comfortable. Who's the one that said, the butterflies don't go away? They just start to fly in order. That's good, okay? Now, we need to utilize this YMCA properly. Invite these people. There's a young person in here, I know, that wants to learn what Lenny does. I want to really thank Lenny because with this remote, we have Marshall from China, Dave from the Carolinas, and we've had people from Africa, Australia, in here, Germany. So we need to keep up the Zoom. We can't just drop it. Change, yes. I'm so surprised what Dave said when he brought in new members, because Dave hates change and he's willing to change with the optimists. Unbelievable. Allowing new members from an opposing club. Unreal. Thank you, Dave. That's great. The Zoom. Lenny, I think Zoom is great. When we can't meet here, I almost didn't make it. I am grateful that I got here because the roads out of Wilson, dry. Once you hit Lockport, I don't think they know that it's still winter. But it is winter. It is winter. We made it through. We have to work on the mayor getting those snowplows out. That's all. Just, give them a little boost instead of worrying about changing Main Street. Worry about the snow. That's always here. We're having an open house. We've got to be ready. You better be ready because it's an open house. Even if it's one guest or no guests, you always have to be ready. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Phil. All that enthusiasm. We're ready. Our third speaker is David Jones, and he gratefully stepped up and was ready. He had all his things on the website even before Sylvia told me that she couldn't be here So I knew that he was ready. And David Jones, I believe, let's see, who is evaluating you? It is Gerald Stevens. Gerald, will you please tell us what your role as evaluator is and what you'll be looking for in David's speech? And then give us the time. And I will give the title.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and Dave. Dave is working from the presentation mastery module, effective body language. He is going to use intentional gestures and probably some unintentional gestures. And I will analyze some of that and report on that, but also different aspects of the speech. And I'm glad to hear you have his title, but the time is 5 to 7 minutes. Mr. Timer, back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Gerald. I'd like to introduce to you David Jones, who will be speaking on the title of Octopus. You've got my interest piqued.
No.
No? Okay. Go
No,
for it.
no.
You tell us.
Professional traveler.
Okay. All right.
I did change it last minute. It is
Okay.
professional travel. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm a self-proclaimed professional traveler. I travel almost every week or every other week for work. Earlier this week, I was in Orlando, Florida. Next week, I'll be in Kansas City. Week after that, Sarasota, Florida. I'm grateful that I get to travel. But since I travel so much, I've kind of learned how to maneuver and work through the whole travel aspect of going to the airport, the hotel, the rent-a-cars. And it usually starts as soon as I get to the airport and I park in the parking garage, because I always park in the same exact space or the same area. I get out of the car with my bag and I head over to the shuttle. And almost always the shuttle is coming right as I'm walking up to it. I step on the shuttle, I put my bag up into the same rack in the same space. I sit in the same exact seat across from it, and we head off to the airport. And as we pull into the terminal, just before the bus gets to the curb, I'm already standing up. I have my hand on my bag, and the bag's on the floor. And as soon as the bus doors open, out I go into the terminal. And once in the terminal, I start bobbing and weaving and running around, and I usually try to find a really big guy who's moving fast, and I get behind him and draft like they do in NASCAR, and I'm just weaving and bobbing with him. Then I get to the check bag area where I am very quick and efficient, check my bag, and then off to TSA pre-check I go. When I go into TSA pre-check, I don't have to take off my shoes or my belt. I'm kind of a big deal there. They just let me go right on through. Then I head over to my gate, and I would say about 30% of the time, I'll upgrade my ticket to first class, just depending on the flight or where I'm going or the time of day. And when I fly first class, I want to be first, meaning I want to be first on the plane. So I'll usually start moving around, saying, how you doing? And trying to scooch my way all the way to the front, ducking under people. And as soon as they say group one, off I go into the plane. Walk into the plane first. I say hello to the flight attendant and say, row 3, a screwdriver, please. And I sit and enjoy it. But the other 70% of the time, when I'm flying coach, I'm the total opposite. I'm the last one on the plane. My younger daughter taught me recently that why am I going to get on group 4 and get hit in the head by backpacks and books and have people standing in front of me and everybody angry? So I just wait for everybody to get on the plane. I walk in, there's my reserved seat on the aisle, and it works out perfectly. We take off, we land, and now it's time to get my rent-a-car. Now, since I travel so much, I'm a Hertz Gold member. And as our commercials say, I get to skip the counter, go to the parking lot, and pick out my vehicle. And this particular day, and this is a true story, it happened about 3 weeks ago, I was walking with some big strides. I had my backpack or my suitcase behind me. I'm doing maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 miles an hour, and I'm coming up to Hertz, and behind Hertz counter is the big board. Big board has your name on it and the section where your car is going to be. And as I'm going, I'm staring at it and it says Jones, President's Circle. I knew I was going to have a really nice vehicle. And as I'm staring at the board and walking, I had a weird sensation in my body. As I turned forward, I saw my feet. I was airborne. I slipped. I didn't slip the usual like this. It was a cartoon character who slips on a banana and goes full air, lands on the back. And that's what happened to me. As I hit my back, I laid there and I was surprised I wasn't hurt, but that's because the universe had something special for me down the road. And I'm sure that everyone around me was applauding quietly, like, oh my God, that was awesome. Because I think it was awesome. But as I lay there on the floor, I leaned over to my right and I saw a big orange cone that said slippery when wet. See, I didn't see it because I was too busy looking at the big board. So as we do, I jumped up, brushed myself off, and I was like, haha, I meant to do that. I might do it again. You know, we just try to play it off. And I wanted to turn around and see the pool of water that I had just slipped in. And I looked down and there was no water, but there was a pool of throw up. See, one of the wonderful employees saw it, got a big orange cone, put it on there, and he was done. It made me question my Millerism. But as I stood there and looked at the throw up, I noticed there was little peas, little carrots, little noodles, and I thought, a child must have done this. I mean, most adults, not all of them, but most adults would not throw up in the middle of a huge corridor. They'd go to the bathroom or a garbage can, and there it was, the big puddle of throw up that I had thrown in or slipped in and fell. Now, what is the moral of my story? Moral of the story is we're often told to focus on one job at a time, focus on the task at hand. Don't look over here, look over there, turn off your cell phone, turn off the TV. Don't look at your emails when you're working, just focus. But my message is you can focus on the task at hand, but be aware of what's around you. Otherwise, you might end up flat on your back in a pool of throw up. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Beware. May we have a timer's report? Thank you again.
Madam Toastmaster. All of our contestants were qualified this morning. Larry at 7:14, Phil at 7:01, and David at 5:58. Congratulations. Toastmaster.
Thank you. And I was remiss in the beginning not to introduce our, oh, please fill out your ballots, either online or on paper. Margot, would you please tell us what you have been doing as general evaluator? Because I know you're an experienced Toastmaster, and just because I didn't introduce you doesn't mean you weren't diligently jotting down notes. So please tell us what your role is.
Thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate it. One of the things I'm hoping this meeting will do is galvanize our newest David to join. So we will have a trio of Davids, which, given if I get my own son to come, there's a fourth, hopefully. In any case, my job today is to mostly evaluate the evaluators, make sure they are doing their sandwich approach, and also to tell the timbre of the meeting and give any other suggestions to those who have roles to help improve the meetings as we go. So that will be my job, and I will start my report whenever you call on me to do so, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Margot. David alluded to gratitude in the moment, or paying attention to the moment, being in what is happening now, not thinking about what you're doing tomorrow, or looking at a sign that has to do with the car in 5 minutes, or thinking about yesterday. the most gratitude that we can receive and feel is being mindful in the moment. When I first came up, I said something about gratitude journal or writing at night before you go to bed. That's reflecting on your day, but we can look back and say, oh yeah, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. But did we appreciate that in that moment? That you found that parking space, or that your alarm clock went off on time, or even the sun in the snow. Are we grateful for things that we experience at that moment? Because they're more impactful when we experience it right now instead of reflecting back, oh yeah, that was okay. I appreciate the trees. I don't remember looking at them, but I appreciate them. And replacing positive thoughts with our negative thoughts. That can help our gratitude as well. I'm going to ask for our evaluators to share with us their evaluations, beginning with page 2, Nancy Turner Beth Banks, who's already up here if I had been paying attention. Beth.
I have to say, really, before I get started, we had some amazing speeches today, table topics today. I'm really impressed with all of our speakers today. It was a very interesting day. Larry, you and I have known each other for a little while, and I'm very glad to have you back with us on a regular basis. Some of the things you excelled at: gestures, involving the audience, having a little game of it. That was really good. It was very obvious that you researched this very carefully, whether it was in the past couple of weeks or for many years. You researched who also had cleft palates, cleft lips, and you would not have been able to tell us all those names without a lot of research. In spite of the very serious topic of cleft palate, you made us smile. You made it humorous. That's sometimes very difficult to do. It's difficult also to tell a personal story. And I appreciate that you did that. To use both those words in your speech when we just heard them this morning, that was impressive. They were both a little difficult in my opinion. One of the things I would challenge you might want to work on, and it's something we've been talking about in the last couple months up here a lot more than we used to: hanging on to the lectern. You didn't do it all, always, but there were times when you did, and we've all been trying to work on that we don't use it to hold ourselves up. Although sometimes we may feel like we have to hold ourselves up, we're trying not to do that. To challenge yourself, keep coming to Toastmasters. We appreciate you being here. You always have very good speeches, topics. We'd like to have you back. We'd like to have Thomas back more often. I know it's difficult. Everyone has their own story and difficulties. So I appreciate both of you coming back in spite of difficulties. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. And our second evaluator is Tracy Farrell. Tracy, would you please share your evaluation with us?
I will. Thank
Phil's speech.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and obviously Phil. His purpose today was to galvanize us to conduct a successful open house. This is one of the things that Phil is fantastic at. When he started his speech, there was a moment of silence. So we're all sitting there in bated breath, waiting for him to say something. And then he came out and said, "Are you ready?" And of course, we're all ready. We're excited. Tell us what we're ready for. But that was a fantastic way to get us excited about an open house. He is a DTM, so he did everything perfect. His clear vocal variety, eye contact, and I have to point out that during his speech, he turned to one side of the room, used great gestures, moved to the other side of the room, looked at them, used fantastic gestures. There was audience awareness. He came right out and told us, we're going to do this the first Thursday of every month. So now we are already on the first Thursday. Obviously, Phil's a very, very accomplished speaker. He was comfortable. He had a specific purpose in mind. As he is going through organizing his speech, he told us what we need. First of all, we need food. No better way to get people to come to a meeting than providing food. He did all the prep work. There was advertisements both through Margot. He went on the radio show. And then he told us, why do we want to come to Toastmasters? Well, obviously, it's fun. We all have a great time when we come here. It's easy to access. We now can get to our meetings through Zoom. And why do we all come? It's educational. We're all learning something. We're improving ourselves. And then he ended it by saying, be ready. This is where I'm going to say, Phil, maybe your call to action could have been a little bit higher. We're all ready. Your call to action should have been invite a friend, bring more people to our open houses, increase our membership. Otherwise, you did a fantastic job. Nobody can speak as good as you can, Phil. I'm really impressed every time I listen to all of your speeches, and I wish us all a very successful open house. I hope we are all ready for next Thursday. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tracy. And our next evaluator is Gerald Stevens, and he is evaluating, David Jones. Didn't have very much coffee this morning. Go ahead, Gerald.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and especially Dave for your speech today. Thanks for stepping up as the alternate speaker. He is prepared, ready to go. We encourage that in fellow Toastmasters to have a hip pocket speech pre-prepared. So that way, if there is a vacancy, it's a chance for you to share your story. And Dave did just that. His title, Professional Traveler, definitely piqued my interest being a fellow traveler. And I was excited to hear what he was going to say about his travel experiences just from the title. So that is important, I think. He did go right into his speech right away. No question of what it was about. Sometimes we do wonder when people meander around a speech. There was none of that with Dave. Yet he knew exactly where he was going. One of the goals for the speech was to definitely have some gestures. He had plenty of those. You know, he was lifting his luggage into the rack and he's bobbing and weaving through the crowd. Detail was amazing. We could totally envision what he was doing. There was very, very clear what was going on, moving and ducking. But there was also some natural gestures in there as well. So we can tell that he thought about where to place the gestures. Very important to do. What else did he bring to the table? He did have great eye contact with the camera, I think. He did talk about some things that were useful to me in regards to what he does for first class and second class. He changes it up. Right. So I could say, oh, I could see this. Maybe I could use this. So I was hoping for some tips, and he did deliver some of those as well. In Toastmasters, though, we do want to recommend some improvement, even for veteran speakers such as Dave. I would have liked to have seen you punch up just a little bit the vocal variety when you fell. When you slipped and fell, I could just see you going over the top and or something like that to just make it a little more dramatic. But overall, very good. Selfishly, I would like to have known what you did after you slipped in the puke. Did you actually have stained clothes? Where do you go from there? Do you have to go to the bathroom to clean? Do you have a spare change clothes? What do you do? That's what I would have been, especially if I had to be somewhere immediately afterwards and look for employment. Overall, Dave did a good job. Gave us another pointer of skipping the counter. That's important because I waited in those long lines, and I definitely need to do that myself. He even jumped around a little bit, and he talked about being distracted and had a moral for us. So a take home, very important. Focus, be present, situational awareness, I call that. Thank you very much, Dave, for your speech today, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Gerald. Mike, can we have a timers report on our evaluators this morning?
Toastmaster. You get your exercise in this job when you're here. So I'm getting my steps in. And everybody did get in time. So Beth Banks came in at 2:39. Tracy came in at 2:47, and Gerald came in at 3:08. Excellent jobs. Thanks. And Toastmaster.
Thank you. And we're waiting to hear from all of them again. Sounds like they all have a part 2 for us. Now, Margot, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you to call for reports.
All right.
Yeah, go from there.
Thank you very much, Nancy. So I'm going to jump right into our evaluators. As everybody has been told many times, it's the sandwich approach. And all 3 of our evaluators put that first slice of bread on the table and made it the thickest slice they ever could. The challenge they all faced were experienced speakers. So everyone had, believe it or not, 2 suggestions for every speaker, and it was all the same in that regard. And then when it came to the top of the sandwich, as the evaluators went through from 1 to 2 to 3, that top layer got thicker and thicker and thicker. So Beth had 1, and then Tracy, and then Gerald. So it was a very interesting way to look at all the sandwich approach, because my method is to count what they say up front, count the suggestions, and count it at the end. I'm not going to reevaluate the speeches. That's not my job. I thought our Toastmaster did a great job of making everyone feel included in this morning's topic. Everyone had a chance to share what they were grateful for, which gave everyone the chance to use the word galvanized or use the word meliorism to tie it right into what they were speaking about that day. In fact, I was really impressed that many of our speakers used the word of the days today, but that's Kate's report, not mine. In any case, I'm going to move on to the Quizmaster report. Carol, what do you have for us today?
Carol Halstead.
What did Jackie say she was thankful for? What happened this morning that other people it might not happen to? Right. In Thomas's losing weight program, what did he have to give up? Yeah. And do you remember what 2 things I mentioned being thankful for? Well, it was my parents in the 50s and 60s that I grew up in. what phrase did Nancy use a lot prior to coming to Toastmasters? Okay. And what is the name of the organization that helps pay for cleft palate surgery? Oh, okay. And what item is always needed as part of a continental breakfast? Okay. And do you remember the city that Dave Jones just traveled to and the two others coming up? Yeah. 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 Okay. And what drink does Dave Jones like to have? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
All right. So would you like me?
Screwdrivers I was just gonna say screwdrivers are not essential for our breakfast at TM.
They most certainly are, as are mimosas. I had a few of those on our recent cruise. That makes the breakfast extra special. In any case, I would like to move on to our WAG Master report because I believe that with only having the jobs, that's the one that we have right now. So Kate, can you give us a report? And I know everybody in the room is very grateful that I am not the WAG Master today.
Thank you, Margot. I over-challenged my own self, throwing in not one, but two words. And if I were word master, that would be challenging enough. This WAG master combined role. Whew. I heard gonna, wanna, sama, gonna, wanna. That was the repeat. I think gonna and wanna. You know, as a demonstration from Nancy, I loved that because she came here to turn that around. I heard several strong words: petrified, utilize, timber, alluded. Very nice. And I agree that I was surprised that our speakers and evaluators used or attempted to use the word of the day. I appreciate that so much. Larry and Phil and David Jones and Margot several times and Mom. And I apologize if I missed others. I did have to step out for a work call. I think we all have some words to use today and through the week. Remember, we use these words of the day to inspire the rest of our language today. So thank you for galvanizing, coming together this morning out of excitement. We have a lot of people in this room today. It's great. We'll hope to see that again next week as we galvanize this open house and do and be meliorism was tough because of the version of it that we do melioristic things and keep this world going positive. Thank you, Nancy.
I think, Kate, my favorite word of the day was scooch. I like David used scooch. So whoever's word master coming up, there's a word for you to use. And with that, Nancy, since you're in the room, I will let you award the ribbons and do everything else. I love your timing of the meeting today. It's almost 8:20, so we really are using our time very wisely. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Okay. We announce the winners first, and then we get to shake up our little money pot. Oh, there it is. I was looking for it. Tracy Farrell is our best evaluator. We'll start at the bottom of the list instead of going back. We're going backwards. Not that you're the bottom. We're going backwards. Tracy, we have a ribbon for you. At some point, when you come and join us in person, you can collect them all. David just said that Zoom saves a lot of money on ribbons. Our best speaker, David Jones. Next time you come to Lockport, come pick up your ribbons. And our third person, Table Topics, is here in the room, and that is Thomas Heldwine. And would you bring up our split club? You didn't have to bring it up, I guess. You just pick one. I have to observe this, right? That there's no cheating for $1. Right?
maintained eye contact.
Okay. Do you want to read it?
Well, I have to go look at my tickets.
Oh, all right, you go look at your tickets. The last 4 digits, 2456. Mine? Would you check? I was first here, probably it is. Oh, see, it was rigged. No, he picked it, not me. Are there any announcements from president or anyone else? Literary, no, up here.
Thank you. One of the things I was waiting for throughout the entire meeting today was gratitude was our theme. And nobody mentioned that today is February 29th, which is an extra day. So in the theme, meliorism, you have an extra day to make something good within your day that would change the world. So use that extra day very nicely today.
Well, I have two things. When David Jones was speaking and saying how he fell, everybody could be quiet still. The meeting is not closed. When David Jones was speaking and said he fell, and then he looked to see if anybody was looking, it reminded me of when I fell and destroyed my knee. And I looked around to see if anybody was looking. This was at college. And I tried to stand up and I fell down again because my knee was gone. So anyhow, I came up with a theme for next week. And hopefully it works well with our open house. What has Toastmasters done for me? I think all of us have something we can say at some point in the meeting, even Mary, who is one of our newest members. Yeah, you can. Yep. So that's my
Great theme. And our guest, David?
Obviously, I'm not shy about speaking. So this club is perfect for me. I am an immigrant. I immigrated from New York and I joined various clubs, Exchange Club, as Dave mentioned. Then I'm now at Sunrise Optimist. And I really have enjoyed being welcomed in Western New York, even though I have to say pop instead of soda. But what I'd like to say is the Sunrise Club is my baby, and now I am definitely going to have another child, and I'm going to be joining this club. And the reason why, and my wife asked me, another club, and I said, this club is so friendly, and they're so welcoming, and it's who I am. I never stop talking, and they celebrate that. Right. Well, I have stories, and if once I get to be a member, oh, do I have stories? I can give you one every week. But really, what I'd like to say is this club is what Western New York, the people have accepted me in my different ways. And this club is a great example of that. And I can't go without giving a pitch. Anybody that wants to join the Sunrise Optimist Club, I am the president of that club, and I have ways of getting you in, and I would welcome you. They also meet at 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning at your former place, Tom's Diner. So anybody who wants to be a member of that, we're always looking for members too. Thank you so much for being welcoming, and I really enjoy being here. Thank you.
I'm gonna keep you up here.
What?
I'm gonna keep you up here. One of the things we do,
Okay.
one of the things we do is our 50-50 every week. And when we're sending out invoices for the next dues, then the losers get to yes, the second chance to be able to have their dues paid by this. So if you would pick one.
Okay, I have one.
Boy, what name does it say on the back?
Steve Smith.
Wow. All right, very good. Thank you.
Do I destroy it now?
Sure, yeah.
So we can't win again?
All right.
Thank you for the time.
And Dave, if you join next week and have us as your baby, we will host a invitation, a celebration as an open house, right? Make it next week.
Bring it next week.
Do I have to bring the money?
You can, you don't have to. Whoa. Are you all done? You're all set? Okay. Okay, I have one more announcement, but I know that Len would love to wrap up the recording, so we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Len.